Don't all of us know the game show Who is a Millionaire? But it is not easy to win it. So many people with a genius brain or superhuman memory registered for the show that no one can win the top prize. Yet, the boy from the poor slum who had never been to a school could win 20 million rupees. He is the male lead of this movie. He has experienced so much suffering in the Indian slum. God took away his other things, but also gave him the ability to remember everything. Just look or hear it, and you can remember forever in your mind. So write in the first question, who is the male lead of the famous movie Giant Rhea 1973? Jamal has just heard this question and immediately returned to his childhood. The boy and his brother are very business-minded. Both built a toll toilet to earn some pocket money. At this time, there was an uncle who wanted to go to the toilet, but Jamal sat down there continuously. So the uncle was extremely angry to get his money back and go to another toilet. At this time, in the sky, Amitabh Bachchan's helicopter appeared. Amitabh Bachchan was outside, and the people were excited. From old to young, they were crazy and ran after him because he was the most famous actor in this period, and also the person most idolized in every family. But because Jamal harmed his brother, he locked the door on him. Because he admired him wholeheartedly, he was holding a plate of portrait photos that were folded into 4 of Amitabh Bachchan. So the boy hurriedly covered his nose and decided to jump into the hole. After that, the boy ran into the crowd. Also, because the boy was full of feces, no one dared to stop. The boy succeeded in asking for the signature of his idol, which made him happy. So while his mother was bathing, Salim grabbed the photo and sold it. Jamal knew it was extremely heartbreaking because it took a lot of effort to get that photo. But in the eyes of his brother, the money is the most important. That is why this story has a deep impression on him. Also, because this is about a celebrity, this question perhaps everyone knows which answer to choose. Next is the second question. Perhaps the 5-year-old child would know, but he did not know and must consult the audience. This made the police extremely suspicious. Jamal explained that everyone has things that they do not know. Therefore, for him, that question was not normal. The next question, if answered correctly, would win him 16,000 rupees. What does Rama hold in his right hand? After listening to the question, the memory came out. The answer, of course, he knew, because it came from the most heartbreaking memory of his life. When he was a child, because of a religious conflict, the slum that he was living in was in riots. That painful day is as clearly visible in his mind. At that time, he was playing with his brother and his mother and some neighbors, washing clothes in the lake. They frantically rushed into the slum to assault those who were not of their religion. The mother quickly signaled to the 2 brothers to flee, and she stood her ground. In the battle, right in front of their eyes was the scene where she was beaten to death mercilessly. Not long after that, many people died. They looted the furniture and took people. Jamal and Salim, while fleeing, met a girl dressed up as the god Rama, with a bow and arrow in her right hand. Despite answering the correct question, at that moment the memory once again appeared. He told the police that every morning he woke up, he wished that he had not known the answer to that question, because if the battle did not take place, he still would have a mother. In the live contest, Jamal answered the 4th question, and, if correct, would win 250,000 rupees. The question was about the song Darshan by the famous poet. The audience and MC were sure he could not know, yet he knew. But the answer to this question was not a gentle memory. When he and his brother lost their mother, he could only rely on each other. That night they did not dare to sleep at home, only daring to hide in a container. Outside, a little girl with a small body was standing in the rain and lightning. Jamal pitied her, but Salim was angry that they could not let her inside. That would bring them a lot of trouble. They could be kicked out of there at any time. But Jamal was a boy who had an honest nature. Waiting for his brother to fall asleep, he waved to the girl. She introduced her name as Latika. Her father also died in the recent chaotic battle, and the 3 of them leaned against each other. They started a series of days to find food together. They lived right next to the gathering place. Food or utensils were rummaged from the dump. Until one day they met a strange man wearing black glasses. His name was Maman. He gave them soft drinks and then took them home. Maman discovered that there were all orphans. There were even many disabled babies. When the three children first arrived, their stomachs were hungry, so they were given food. They were happy to think that they had met the saints of life. But they did not know that this saint was a devil that disguised himself. In the evening, he called the children to stand in a row and then made them sing for him to hear. That song is used for selecting victims. That day, a child was chosen because of a good voice. After he chose the child, he immediately covered the child's eyes with a cloth and then poured the dangerous solution from the fire into the child's eyes. Salim was so afraid that he vomited continuously on the ground. At this time, Mr. Maman called Salim to bring Jamal there. He intended to threaten Salim to make Jamal come there. At their house, at this time, Jamal and Latika were sitting confiding to each other. They danced and read poetry, hoping that they could sing really well to be chosen. At that moment, the brother came and called out to Jamal. The two brothers went to the place he told. At this time, Latika was also curious, so she followed. When Jamal was singing, Maman called Salim to continue pouring that dangerous solution. While Maman was not alert, Salim threw it into Maman's face and shouted to Jamal. They chased the three children into the deep forest. Then they quickly jumped on the train, but Latika was left behind. While trying to hold her hand, Salim suddenly let go and pushed her away. So Jamal was distraught because they left her there. He said that they had to come back to save Latika. But the brother refused, saying that if he came back, all would die. They will take our eyes with the tiny pavement, don't worry about it, and it will be fine. They wrestled each other on the floor and then finally stopped because of the scary words that cut into Jamal's heart. After answering the fourth question and winning 250,000 rupees, he moved to the next question, to everyone's surprise. The question was, whose picture is on the US $100 bill? Born in the slum, everyone thought that a poor guy like Jamal had never held a $1 bill, let alone a $100 bill. Then he quickly answered, Benjamin Franklin. A blind beggar in the slum might know it. He continued to recall that year. Jamal and his brother, after fleeing those dangerous people, started a life to support themselves. At first, they rode the train everywhere to sell goods to earn money, but after a while, the train manager chased them off. After resorting to stealing, the two accidentally found an ancient luxurious palace and began to pretend to be guides. They regularly gave indiscriminate tours about the palace for tourists to make a living. And Salim sold shoes outside. Once, Jamal took a foreign couple to visit the Indian Laundry Square, but unfortunately was discovered and chased. Jamal was injured in the eye. The tourists, because of sympathy, gave him $100. After getting the money, Jamal wanted to return to Latika, so he asked Salim to go with him to the old slum. The two brothers went everywhere to search, and along the way, Jamal met an old friend. The friend, in the past, because he was good at singing, was now blind. Every day he relied on his rich voice to ask for money on the road. Jamal was generous, so he gave the $100 bill to the friend. The friend still did not believe that Jamal could give him so much money, and asked what the person on the bill looked like. Jamal immediately described it, and the friend said it was a bald old man on the top of his head, with long hair on the sides like a girl's. Immediately the friend said Benjamin Franklin. At that time, that friend always remembered Jamal. Even though he was blind, he still recognized him. He told Jamal about Latika's whereabouts and warned him not to look for that girl, but Jamal still wanted to look for her. That night, he and his brother went to the red light district to find Latika. In a closed room, they saw her wearing blue clothes dancing. The revealing clothes fascinated the men around her. At this time, the two brothers rushed in when Maman suddenly saw them. Jamal thought that he was dead, but Salim pulled out a gun. It turned out that his brother had a backup. Maman agreed to not pursue anymore, but Salim turned back and said, "Sorry, I can't risk it." After saying that, he opened fire and ended the life of Maman. Latika bent down to pick up the money, and Jamal hugged his head in panic. Then the three of them escaped and once again leaned on each other. They were happy because they had never been free and happy like then. Jamal and Latika were extremely touched to be together again in a safe place. The girl made a shadow with her arm on the wall. She danced passionately. Both of them loved each other, but this couple was divided by Salim. The night after, his brother ran to Maman's enemy and said he had killed Maman and then joined Zaved's gang. Salim had now become a real thug. It was at that time the conflict between the two brothers had reached its peak. Salim was drunk, so it seemed like he wanted Latika, and told Jamal to go out. Jamal, of course, understood what his brother wanted to do. He became enraged and beat his brother, but Salim pointed a gun at him and chased him out. At this time, Latika came out and then said, "Jamal, go away." The two of them went inside and slammed the door, leaving Jamal alone. After many years, he still remembered the gun that his brother pointed at him that day. It was also because of that painful memory that he answered the next correct question: who invented the revolver? By answering correctly, he became a millionaire with 2.5 million rupees. Jamal is now alone. The boy became a chaiwala for the program Who is a Millionaire? He helped people by making tea and pouring water. Sometimes he helped others by answering the phone. One day, he covered for another person, taking advantage of the company's search system to find his brother's name. He finally found the right phone number. Brother. Salim heard the voice of Jamal. He was very angry, but he was his brother anyway, so the next day he went to see his brother. Jamal punched his brother to vent his anger from the past time. Salim also said that he was very regretful for his mistakes toward him, and said that he did not look for Latika because they couldn't be together anymore. To find Latika, Jamal lived at Salim's house. One day, when Salim was on duty, he rented a car for his brother to go to a large mansion. He faked being a new chef and mixed in the household. In that house, he met Latika, the girl he had longed for day and night. The two hugged each other, but she was now the wife of Mr. Zaved, always suffering abuse and violence. At this time, Zaved returned to his house and scolded her mercilessly, and told her to watch Who is a Millionaire. Seeing Latika in distress, Jamal wanted to take her away. When he left, he told her that he would wait for her at the station at 5 o'clock every day until she came. Since then, whether it is rainy or sunny, Jamal had been waiting there. Surrounded by people, he still saw the silhouette of the girl he loved. Latika arrived in yellow clothes. At that moment, time seemed to stop. Their future did not seem over. Just then, Salim and his accomplices rushed to catch Latika. Jamal desperately stood there, his heart turning to dust. He hated his brother intensely when he once again made them separate. To find Latika, he decided to be a contestant on the program Who is a Millionaire. Because he knew that she watched this program, when it aired, she would definitely see him. But he did not expect to answer so many questions correctly. In question 7, the host asked about Cambridge Circus in which city of England. Because he remembered a boat ride in London, he guessed that London was accurate. Now he was a millionaire with 5 million rupees to his name. The 8th question, if answered correctly, would win 10 million rupees. When the host read the next question, he was aware that he could choose to receive 5 million rupees and stop the game. But what surprised everyone was that he brought the 5 million rupee check to the host. He tore it up, meaning Jamal would continue the game. During a break, Jamal and the host were in the toilet. The host showed that he was very sympathetic and rooting for Jamal. He also silently left the answer for him in the mirror. The answer was B. When he returned, he did not impatiently choose answer B in a hurry, but carefully used the help of 50-50. As a result, 2 answers A and C were eliminated. Once again, he struggled with the decision between believing or not believing the host. Jamal, having faced deceit from the host countless times, knew that he was not trustworthy and decided to choose D. Indeed, the answer D was completely accurate. The last question would be continued tomorrow. That night, the host called the police and had Jamal arrested for investigation. They used torture to force him to tell the truth. But there was no fraud involved. After listening to his story, the police also believed that he had won based on his luck and memory. So, they would take the boy that night to the show. The competition shocked all of India and was widely reported by the press. Salim and Latika also saw the news about him. At this time, their moods were very heavy. Salim gave Latika the car key and cell phone, hoping she could forgive all the mistakes he made to them. Latika drove to the studio, but that day the crowd was too large, so she had to stay in the car and just watch Jamal on TV. At this time, he was sitting on a hot seat and faced the question, who is the third musketeer? But he did not know, so he used the phone-a-friend lifeline. He called Salim, but the phone rang for a long time with no answer. At this time, Latika suddenly remembered that Salim had given her his phone, so she hurriedly got her phone and answered the call. They heard each other, but Latika did not know the answer. Meanwhile, through the program, Zaved also knew that she had fled. He frantically searched for Latika. When Zaved opened the bathroom door, he shot Salim dead. Immediately, Zaved also shot Salim again, killing him. He died in the bathtub. Salim had valued money from a young age, sold a valuable photo signed by his brother's idol, and later became a ruthless assassin that made Jamal hate his brother for life. But actually, the person he loved the most in life is also his only brother. Because of his brother's happiness, Salim gave up everything. At the moment Salim died, Jamal chose answer A and won. The studio audience erupted in joy. The whole city and all over the country celebrated for him. And Jamal still did not smile at this time because he had not seen Latika yet. Finally, at the station that the two of them had made an appointment, he found the girl of his life. Latika wore a yellow scarf on her head like a bright light that illuminates Jamal's heart. This boy, after a long time of darkness and suffering, finally saw a ray of hope in life. Jamal had said that he would never give up. They ran toward each other. He gently touched the scar on her face from when she was cut by Zaved's men when they forced her to leave Jamal for the first time. Then, in that moment, he kissed her lips, making all the painful memories seem gone. The film shows a miniature Indian society. Inequality between the rich and the poor. They think that only those who go to school, get a degree, and gain status have knowledge. So Jamal's story, a child who never went to school, grew up from the slum, won the top prize, and became a millionaire, was the most obvious evidence to reject that point of view. Jamal became a hero in the eyes of millions of poor people, giving them hope that life still offered opportunities. Like a teacher once said, in society, if you take risks, you eat more. If you don't, you eat less. If you want to succeed, you have to accept the sweet and bitter. This is the end of the video. If you like it, leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss my new videos. Thanks for watching, and see you again in the next videos.